All right, let's look at this goofy Raw show here. So our worst whatever came true. We have Charlotte, Nia, and Shayna versus Mandy, Data, and Asuka. And who appears in the middle of this match but Alexa Bliss and her stupid doll?
I was done with this show 15 minutes in.
And she watches the match, and then she uses her magic to cause, of all people, Shayna Baszler's leg to not work anymore.
Of course.
And Shayna falls down, and she gets beaten, and Alexa laughs, and all of these women, Charlotte, Nia, Shayna, Mandy, Data, and Asuka have to sit in the ring and look at Alexa Bliss on the ramp, who's the star of the women's division now, and she's going to be using her magic and her stupid doll. And boy, brother, let me tell you something. If you hated this, just you wait.
God, I wish.
Do you remember, by the way, just to do one more Star Wars analogy, you remember in The Empire Strikes Back when Luke is there and he tells Yoda, "I'm not afraid"? What does Yoda say? He says, "You will be." So if you're not afraid of where this is going now, in the words of the wise old Yoda, you will be. What a disaster this was.
Wish I could have seen into the future when I interviewed Shayna Baszler on this very program. You weren't here one day, and she was on, and we were talking and training with Josh Barnett, training with Billy Robinson. I wonder if Billy Robinson ever would have gotten her ready to be placed under a spell and do the shaky leg. I would call it the shanky leg, but we may have a guy doing that.
No, we already have a
on.
shanky.
Yes, we got a shanky, which
that
may have been the best part of the show.
We're getting ahead of ourselves, Mike. Please.
Got a dude named Shanky. That may have been the only good part of the show. MVP, folks. MVP, if you didn't see this show, misspoke during a promo. You know things can't be good if MVP, usually one of the only saving graces of this program, even he is messing up on his promos. You know it wasn't a good night for this
I'm not even bothering with all of that. I'm just going to get to the point. We had the return of Jinder Mahal. He's these Bollywood boys have put on some size. And now the little one, the husky one, is named Veer. And the lanky one is Shanky. Lanky Shanky. I mean, it couldn't be worse. What was the, I gotta find, there's a Chelsea Green interview. Remember Chelsea Green showed up and got an injury and we never saw her again?
Yeah.
So, am I wrong, or did they not call her Chelsea Green when she came out? Didn't they call her Chelsea Green?
I thought she was.
Because she did an interview, Chelsea. And they told her that her new name was like Victorious or something. It was so stupid that she admits that when she first heard it, she laughed. And then the person that told her was like, "I'm serious. Your name is Victorious," or whatever it is. And I'm like, oh my God, it's 2021, dude. Why are you calling someone Victorious?
Brian,
what was it, everybody?
They have a whole roster of people that are like, they're adult children. Like, the show is filled with adult children. Braun is looked at as a schoolyard bully who's not real bright. John Morrison is the dumbest jock, stereotype moron you've ever seen in your life. Jackson Riker, I don't even know what he is. He's just some slow dude that likes music now. I have no idea. Alexa's got a doll. Matt Riddle is, Spicoli light. Asuka is, at times can be incredibly entertaining, but they rely on that where she's just some goofball, manic woman child, too. It's just, I don't know. I got to find this. What do you want out of this show?
I got to find this. I'll get it here in a minute. But anyway, we had, the return of Jinder. He beat Jeff Hardy, just squashed him like a prelim guy. We had Randy Orton, New Day, and Matt Riddle versus AJ Omos, and then Riker and Drifter. And Orton pins Elias, and then he lays out both of the New Day with RKOs, which Riddle's upset about. I don't know what's going on here. I mean,
bro, how can I have any friends if you keep
how can we have any friends?
Was it we?
Yes. Riddle, by the way, has gotten papers so that they can officially be a tag team, because you need papers.
What did he roll up in them?
Not those kind of papers. Mike, you don't seem to understand. You're making a joke, but what they actually said is an even bigger joke. He said that he had registration papers. Registration papers to make sure that him and Randy Orton become a registered tag team in WWE. Bro, this play's been around since 1963. I've been watching since 1988. I didn't know until today that you have to have registration papers to become an actual tag team in WWE. But you do, so that's nice. The Sheamus Humberto Carrillo thing happened. Shelton Benjamin beat Cedric, because of course he did. Why wouldn't he?
I have one thing to say about this, and it is, I know Cedric could easily end up on Main Event tomorrow or whenever Main Event airs, and Shelton could just disappear. But if this is the old uncle who, keeps getting bucked up on by the kid at the barbecue and then just, gets pushed around a little bit and then explodes up off the lawn and picks up and slams this kid, and, you better chill out for the rest of this thing, then that's fine. And Cedric coming back on him, learning some respect, and either reforming the team or getting the victory is fine. So if this is a start to a story, that would be nice. But it's hard to look for the silver lining, so it will probably go the other way. But that's the only saving grace I could have in this, and the fact that Cedric and Shelton, at least, if given any time, could actually have some good matches, and I would rather see them paired with each other than playing the fool and chasing around the 24/7 title or something like that.
Have you got any hope for the future of Cedric Alexander after
I don't have any hope
match?
for this show, Brian, but we have to review it. So it's like I have to watch this and try to take a show seriously that started with Lily and Alexa coming out to interfere with a match where all of these women all overshadow the women's champion, who you still really haven't established on the brand. And then you just go through every single part of this show. And it's like, if you don't have some random hope for something, what is the point of really watching it then? It's much like you're complaining about AEW.
That's literally the only reason I watch the show. It's my job.
I know, but as part of the job, you actually have to look and see maybe there's going to be something. Yes, you could always look for the worst, but...
Well, no, what I do is when I analyze it, I've watched this program for like 100 years. I look at it and I try to, what is likely to happen because of this based on what I've watched for 100 years? Well, what's likely to happen is I ain't ever going to see Cedric again. He's going to be on 205 Live or he's going to be on Main Event. I mean, maybe, dude, I have no hope for this one. I've been wrong before. I got no hope. Rhea versus Asuka. Rhea beats her clean in the middle of the ring. It's supposed to be a three-way on Sunday. Why it's a three-way, I have absolutely no idea. Asuka's
by the way, how they got to that, and I know we're pushing up against the break, but even how they got to that with Sonya, that was a bad SNL skit. Sonya's looking around. They give a bunch of verbiage to Rhea that she cannot pull off and does not match who she is. Asuka was fine, but it was like... Even this is like in between that and Angel Garza later on with Drew Gulak, and it's like this is like watching Elon Musk be awkward on Saturday Night Live. This just was like mind-boggling to me.
Damian Priest beat John Morrison. He gets to choose his tips for Sunday, so he's going to choose a lumberjack match. And then finally in the main event, Drew McIntyre, who just in an interview saying that something like I can get a match out of anybody. He can, and he did everything he could to try and save the show. Lashley did a good job. They had a fun match, and then, yes, Braun Strowman ran in for the DQ, and he power slammed everybody multiple times, and that's how the show went off the air. Back in a moment with your calls and more. Wrestling Observer Live. The show, Brian Alvarez here, Wrestling Observer Live. Like Semper Vivi, also of WrestlingObserver.com. Everyone's talking about vaccines in the Twitch chat here. And Dagan wants to know how the 5G is doing in my body after I got my vaccination. Brother, let me tell you something. If my body could generate 5G wireless internet, I'd be over the moon. I can't think of anything that would be better than that.
When I had all those problems last week at the beach.
Brother, I mean, that would make my life so much easier if I could just generate 5G. I may have to go get another shot if that's an option for one of these.
You ever try to use your Google Maps downtown in a city like Washington, D.C. or something like that? Yeah, as much like, 5G as I could generate to get that thing working so you don't get lost going around a corner, that would be fantastic.
I use my map all the time. I never get lost. What are you talking about?
You got better service than we do out here, I guess.
Now, the problem, Mike, the reason you get lost
Oh, here we go.
Yeah, you want to know why?
Yeah,
because in Washington, D.C.
Piss me off today. Go
It's
ahead.
because in Washington, D.C., much like in Seattle.
You know it. Yes.
Brother, is it a big city or not?
The biggest. The
Okay,
best.
so in a city like that, where you have streets, and you also have streets that go above, the map
that go
cannot
above?
always figure out. Yeah, you
Jetsons.
Bro, you don't have an off ramp or an on ramp or a freeway that goes above the city.
There's
they're
a
all
beltway
over
that goes
the place.
around the city.
The point is, the thing can't figure out if you're up or if you're down. This happened to me a million times. You're driving over, and it thinks you're down below, and it's like, take the exit here, and you're like, I'm on the freeway. There's no exit right here. I can't turn right on Birch Avenue. I'm above. Birch Avenue's down below. That's what happens. Nothing has nothing to do with your 5G.
I'd love to see you dropped in the middle of Washington, D.C.
You're a horrible person. Why do you always say these terrible things to me?
Not built like a grid. It's built in a circle, basically, which is just torturous for people that actually come for the first time and in a city full of transients to watch them suffer is always a little bit amusing, but I'm not worried about them. I'm worried about making my Google Maps experience better, and the more power that I can get from 5G, the better that would be.
See, look, everyone here agreeing with me. You're absolutely right, Brian. Sometimes you're above and sometimes you're below. This guy says Brian's always above everybody. That's right.
Sometimes you're in
That's
the
why
mud.
my maps don't work in Seattle. If you enjoy these videos, for just $7.99 per month, you can enjoy full-length editions of The Brian and Vinny Show, Wrestling Observer Live, Figure 4 Daily with Tom Lawler and Lance Storm, plus hundreds of archived shows, all in beautiful HD. Don't miss out. Join us today.